I'm grateful to God to be able to come and we discuss. Our topic today is about the shift in faith from trusting in God to trusting God plus the spirits of the dead. When we got saved, we had the impression that Jesus was adequate. But slowly, it's turning out that if you truly want blessings, it will be important that you also cover yourself very well. 3 weeks ago, one of my friends who comes from Seaton Parklands rang me, and he asked me that he wants my advice. His nephew, the son of his sister, had just done KCP and was going to go for circumcision. So his brother-in-law had said he's sending the son to him. What is that thing called? Which is the right English word for what the uncle is supposed to do before a boy is circumcised? Bless. Some people say bless kakoharoda. All those words are used, isn't it? So he just wanted to know what about it, and I told him, you don't understand? The religion of the Kikuyus says, if that boy dares to go for circumcision before he has a blessing of the brother of the mother, he could easily bleed to death. Forget about science. It will not be anything the doctor has done wrong, the spirits, because you do not follow the right process. So he said, he told me, my sister is born again, her husband, they are serious Christians. What do I do? Say, just ask them a few questions. Number one, that boy has just done KCPE. Between KCPE and circumcision, according to a Christian, which is more important? What did you answer yourself? Which is more important between circumcision and KCPE? Which will determine his life? Which will influence his life more? Any Christian knows that, isn't it? But that's not for a Kikuyu. To a Kikuyu, circumcision is so critical that KCP is a joke. Has nothing in comparison. That's why KCP, you are praying for your nephews. When it comes to circumcision, you must bless. And of course, you know where the whole thing about circumcision is that in the Kikuyu belief system, to become an adult, the spirit must allow you to become an adult. So you must shed blood. That's why most of you look younger. So you may not have been used to the Kikuyu Irua. It used to be I was born 1952, so I can tell you stories about 1950s or 60s. Because by 70s, this thing had died up in Nyandarua. But 60s, 50s, every December there will be a month when they were doing circumcision. Anyway, but I don't have enough time to go into the theology of it. But I'm now teaching you Kikuyu religion. In Kikuyu religion, when blood is poured onto the ground, the spirits of the dead bless the child. So, you can see it's a serious matter. It's a religious. Circumcision is not just cutting. It's not a cutting of what skin. It's actually satisfying the requirement of the ancestral spirits. Are you starting to understand? Yes. That thing is so serious that currently, after the reversion of back to the tradition, it started very slowly. It is just joining Kiamakia Boli, Council of Elders. But once you join it, the rules are clear. You are not an adult unless you have shed blood. And they started talking about that. And they started saying, no, you can't just do circumcision. There are processes, because during circumcision, it is both the blood and a discussion to prepare you into adulthood. And so the Wazes started insisting on sitting with the newly circumcised people. They are called Shiomeri. They are supposed to sit with them and teach them what it means to be a man. And it got to the level where a child who has gone through circumcision comes back to Form 1 or Form 2 and cannot listen to the woman teacher. Because they are told who a man is and who a woman is. And that includes the mother and the teacher. And many boys end up having problems, and you know that better than me, end up having problems in high school because they can't, what they are taught about women, because they are not told what the Bible says, they are told what the Kikuyu document says, although the Kikuyu document is in the head. But it's still a document. And that's the whole issue. Now, the trouble is that has gone only for a short while until they said, wait a minute. It's exactly the same with the women. A woman is not an adult unless she is circumcised. Because you see, blood has to pour for the spirits to accept you as an adult. So if a woman was not circumcised, and that's why in 1928 it became a big issue where the missionary is saying it can't be done. He could say we can't, the spirits will have problems. How can you start getting a child when you are still a baby? It will be a child also getting a baby. And the white man was not understanding why they want to do, how do they want to destroy women? In fact, they called it FGM. Because they are assuming that the Kikuyus, the Luyas, just want to destroy women. What they don't understand is not that you want to destroy women. You are trying to deal with the spiritual issue of shedding blood. It's not really that you want to destroy. It's simply, now, you know that thing has gone to the level that currently the people right inside now, the new religion, are actually requiring their wives to be circumcised. I'm sure you read about it in Muranga, where a woman in her 50s was finally circumcised by force. But it's now, they are not even now using force. Once a woman understands that she has interfered with spiritual powers, the women are themselves taking themselves for circumcision. Because she is told, do you see your son without a job? Yes. Do you remember your daughter is having cancer? Yes. Do you see? All those are the spirits trying to tell you, you did wrong to have started getting children without becoming an adult. A pastor the other day called me, told me, Brother Langa, these things you have been talking about, I didn't know they are serious. I said, what do you mean? I'm currently preparing somebody for the wedding, and so they are doing all preparation. So they went to the office with the cards and started inviting their workmates to the wedding. One elder woman called her aside and said, isn't your name Mobi? Yes. Do you know the meaning of Mobi in Kikuyu? Says, I know. It's the mother of the tribe. It's a very spiritually important name to be called Mobi, the mother of the tribe. Do you think the spirit will leave you innocent? If you go ahead, get married and start getting children when you are still a child, say, what do you mean I'm still a child? Said, have you done necessary? What is the necessary? Have you been circumcised? She couldn't believe an educated woman would be talking such, you know, for the kind of, you know, you're about 20-something-year-old. She couldn't believe that people educated, rich, are talking that. He said it's not a joke, it's not a laughing matter. If you go ahead and become married and get children before you are circumcised, the spirit will be in your case. You will see what will happen to your family. Me, I actually got married without realizing. The kind of things I went through, I've had to go and be circumcised. That's what I'm telling you, don't dare. Especially when you are called Mumbi. So, I wish these are stories I was giving. I'm talking about the things happening today. And that's why this is no longer now a subject you choose whether to discuss or not discuss. People are doing. In fact, I was told the other day that I was told by one of my cousin's sons, one of them told me, do you know so and so? Now, of course, these are people in their 30s or 40s, our children. Do you know so and so? The wife went circumcision. That's now my nephews, if you can call them, what do you call the son of your cousin? Let me call him nephew. His wife went for, I tried to ring him the other day, I'll call you. So I realized what the brother was telling me was actually true. And it's not that the wife is being forced. Once you enter the religion, you will take yourself. Because you don't want to be in trouble with the spirit, do you? In the fear of the power of the spirit world, you actually go into it. Now, my friends, you are the teachers. If these things spread in Nyandarua, God will not hold you innocent. Because the way it is going is that the church has kept totally quiet. The pastor preaches nothing about it. You have been in church for all your years. Nobody talks about it. If those ones of 1920s stood the ground until that's how the independent church was started. Because they said we want Christianity, but not with this problem. So they left so the girls can be circumcised. You have heard of independent church. That's how it was started. Because they wanted Christianity and education. But their girls must get circumcised. So if you don't say anything, and you say you are a patron of a CU, and you don't teach them, remember, they will be taught. And because the pastors are saying nothing about it, so for example, where have you sat in a sermon to hear the theology of the wedding process? The pastors wait for you, get into trouble with your in-laws, trouble, then on the wedding day you come and they join you. What you don't know is the kind of rough time you have gone through. Are we together? With the in-laws saying, they give you a list, isn't it? And if you don't give them, there will be no wedding. But the church is saying nothing. Am I representing them wrongly? Do your churches preach about it? So I'm talking facts. So, because you ask yourself, remember these things are with religion. And it's not a joke. In that place, before the Christian wedding, they even tell you to do Gurario. Am I right? What is Gurario? Gurario is a Kikuyu wedding. So once you have Gurario, you don't need a church wedding. It's supplementary. Because in the Gurario, they actually shed blood that joins the two clans. You get your ancestral blessings. And the wazis actually tell you, now the girl is yours. Last Saturday, is it? Yeah, literally. Not last Saturday. Last Saturday I was in Kitale. The other Saturday, I was training some premarital class. And as I went through the people that were in the group, during question time, the mother has come out. Says, I went for the wedding process. Then I think I don't remember who are lawyers. Then I was told the girl is mine. So I went and we went and started staying together. So then when I told the pastor is telling me that we must go apart. The question, my question is, how long will I be away from my wife? And I see. So the question is he your wife? No, I'm not. Because you see, it's a total confusion. Because the church is saying nothing. The gospel, according to the Kikuyus, is clear and well taught and enforced. The Bible one, the pastor just waits for you. Go and sort out with your parents first. In fact, when you come to him, he says, have you sorted out with your parents? What is meaning, have you agreed to be messed up? And then you come. You have heard of something called Kamweredo. What is Kamweredo? Kamweredo is practice of the Kikuyu religion. In Kikuyu, you are not allowed to receive dowry if you have not given any. And if you actually go ahead and receive, there will be chaos from the spirit world. Your family will be in trouble. So you are not allowed to get any more goats. If your parents, if you as a father gave 10, you cannot ask your son-in-law more than 10. If you ask for 11, you are asking for a curse. And not a curse from here, a curse from the spirit world. And that can cause Kikuyus take it. That's when you know, even if they claim they have been Christians for generations, they are still serious. Because that's when they ask, Kwan, how many did you give? Because you can't ask for more. So I just to ask you, how many did you give? You can't ask for more. And if you now happen to be a single woman, and you have a child, and your child is now a teenager, so you can see soon, there are likely to be men who will come to you. If you dare receive dowry, and you yourself have not you have not been bought, and you receive dowry, and you never gave any dowry, you are asking for a curse. According to Kikuyu religion. Am I communicating? So that's why the girl starting a new meeting, Kamoredo, is that we go with the other girls to my home. Those that are Christians, born again, they say we are going to greet my parents. As if you need permission to greet your parents. But the other ones are actually more frank. Have you heard of it? Why do you think they are? Remember, if you are a Christian girl, you have already been helping your parents, isn't it? So what is this special one? It is that your father is supposed to now accept you like a son. Now you can inherit in that home, and you can actually also receive dowry. If you now receive dowry, it will be okay because you are also given dowry. But of course, now they are playing around with Kikuyu religion, because in Kikuyu, there was nothing like that. You can't buy yourself. So a father who accepts dowry from a daughter is a crook. But people have become so greedy that they actually accept dowry from a daughter. It's not, that's not part of the religion. But that's what they are doing. I hope all these things I'm saying, you know I'm not creating them. Yeah. And I'm giving you all that to show you how far in Kikuyu land we have moved back from Christ to ancestral worship. The unfortunate thing is we are not moving out of the church. Some of them are pastors, some are bishops, some are apostles, but they are in both one leg here, one leg. Jesus can look after some things, but there are some things Jesus cannot handle. So one leg must be there. The unfortunate thing is that Jesus tells us, or God tells us, He is a jealous God. His glory will share with no one. The moment one leg is in ancestral worship, and you are looking for ancestral blessings, finished. He has nothing to do with you. Let me put it differently. You are either, in terms of Jesus, you are either all His, or you are not His at all. You can't be in both. So the moment you feel, in my clan, they had said this, the other cannot do this, why can't you do it? Because of my clan rules. You are again starting to say you want protection from Christ and you want protection from ancestral spirits. It won't happen. You will certainly get ancestral blessings, but not blessings from the Lord. I don't know, Robert, you have been listening to my 2 minutes in the morning, and I'm talking about these blessings. I normally give a 2 minutes meditation every day, which Robert normally receives. If you want to receive, ask Robert for my number. And this week, I'm going to that issue of blessings. That initially, I thought that all blessings come from God. I did not know they are separate blessings. You can get blessings. And I was actually a share manager in Kisumu in the 1980s. I've been saved from 1960s. So, 1988, I'm in the committee organizing for the crusade. Bonke was raised in Kisumu, and I was in the committee to help you organize. And there's a church which I've been told believe in miracles. In fact, in that church, There were people there who had come there with wounds. These wounds that you go to that place, that man will pray for you, you just dry up. Women who are barren would come to the church, pray for you, within 9 months you have a child. It was a church in miracles. What shocked me is that when Bonnke was coming, I thought this guy would be the first supporter of Bonnke. The members of the church were told none of them was allowed to the stadium. And I was a little confused. So I started asking about the church. I was told it is true those things happen, but if you go to the church and you get the miracle, you are warned. The day you leave that church, the wound will just come back. Your child will die. So you're a prisoner in the church. The difference in Christianity is that even if you get saved, you can backslide at leisure. I'm not communicating. You can backslide at leisure. Because Christ does not want to force himself on you. It's a choice whether to follow him or not. The blessing of the Lord maketh rich. You read that yesterday. But adds no sorrow. What does that tell you? What the scripture saying? You can get blessings from elsewhere. Okay, my point? The only trouble with the blessing from elsewhere is to add sorrow. And that thing, it was 1988. I was in shock because in my mind I knew all good things come from the Lord. The devil has nothing. I discovered for the first time the devil can give you good things. The other day we were discussing this topic. I think it was at KTTC. During question time, somebody said to me, Mr. Nganga, you know, this is not a joking matter. My aunt was told the reason she was barren was because of certain things that had not been done according to the Kikuyu requirements. When she did it, 9 months later, she had a child. In fact, I can show you my nephew. So it's not a joke. I told him, you miss the point. At no time did the Bible tell us that you cannot get good things from the devil. It's only you get them on your way to hell. Because the devil and his people are going to hell. We must get this out of our mind. We are not telling people not to follow ancestral worship because they are not good things. Many powerful things have happened by people sacrificing, doing those things. Did it happen? Yes, I did not say it did not happen. But it's not coming from the Lord. And Shadrach and Meshach and Abednego told the king the same thing. We are not debating about your ability to burn us. See, the fire is there. You burn us. But our God is able to rescue us from your hands. If he chooses not to rescue us, it's not because he is not able to rescue us. It's a choice he has made. But let's be clear. We are not about to worship you. We are ready to die. You know the story, isn't it? And that's what is really getting into us. The fact that we have testimonies of many people that have gone back to ancestral worship and they have gotten miracles. Some of you who seated here may know them already. Am I right? Yeah, people have done those things. But you can't be a Christian and get help from there. So we are not suggesting there's no help. We are only saying it's a blessing that adds sorrow. And if we don't talk about these things as a church, the fact that they are seeing actual things happening will get one person after another. In fact, my prediction is that within the next 10 years, I don't think there will be Christianity in Central Province. The church will still be there, my dear. Remember, they are not asking you to leave the church. You stay in the church. That's why pastors have become, bishops are becoming, but there will be a church, the Bible tells us, they have a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. So that is the church that will remain. People are getting baptized, they are getting, whatever, all those activities will continue. But a trust only in God, the Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego type of trust will no longer be there. Because you feel like you have a choice between here and there. So our discussion today is to ask you, are you willing like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, to die in the fire rather than get blessings from the demons. That's really what our discussion is on. And I thought I would be, because some of you have already had me before on this topic, that instead of starting with the whole theology, I would rather deal with the testimonies. So that you see, we are not discussing an academic subject. It's a subject that is there. But anyway, I would like to allow a lot of time for discussion. Hey, it's already not that much. I would like to finish and allow at least not less than 20 minutes of discussions. I want you to read for me 1 Corinthians 10, verse 20. Then, can you agree, Robert, you read that for me? Then Joroge will read for me Acts 15, verse 20. And then we'll do a bit of this discussion, then allow a discussion question so that I don't scratch where it is not itching. Robert, are you there? 1 Corinthians 10, verse 20. Talking about Gentile worship. Go ahead.
But I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils, and not to God. And I would not that ye should have fellowship with devils.
That's the King James. What is your version? Sounds King James.
Yes.
Okay, who has a different version? We see whether there is a change of wording.
And I read the same one in Kikuyu. The Kikuyu also mentions.
Okay, read it in Kikuyu.
Kikuyu says, Asha, uria ndiroiga ni ati magongona ma andu aria matari na ugai marutagirwo daimono no ti Ngai, na ndikwenda mugie ngwataniro na daimono.
Are you hearing? Are Kikuyus Gentiles? Tell me, are Kikuyus Gentiles? Have you heard every Igogona, not some, all Kikuyu Igogonas are actually being done to who? To demons. Because our ancestors, what are you talking about? Are they available with us? They are demonic, the demonic world. So the first time I read this verse, I said, is there something wrong with my version? So we better hear another version. How can every Igogona in Kikuland be condemned? What is your version, my sister? Which version first?
This is the King James.
That then it's the same as hers. His.
Revised Standard.
Okay, Revised Standard you can read.
So it is saying, no, I imply that what pagans sacrifice they offer to demons and not to God.
Yeah, now we are called pagans.
I do not want you to be partners with the demons.
Okay, that's the RSV. Any other version?
NIV.
Yes.
No, but the sacrifices of pagans are offered to demons, not to God, and I do not want you to be participators with demons.
Another version? Anyway, I think we have read enough versions, and they are all saying the same. Every Kikuyu worship of any worship, any gongona, not some, but all are offered to demons. Gurario is a Kikuyu igongona. Am I right? So anybody who has gone through Gurario is a participant in the demonic. Wow. And I don't want to quote me. That's what I wanted you to read. Because you're likely to see how can he. And currently a lot of women, even old ones, are going for Gurario. Am I right? Nothing really okay there. And you know you cannot cut the shoulder unless you have Gurario. Because the two are the same. It is the sheep for Gurario that normally the shoulder is given to, or is cut for the wife. So the two are the same. You know, some people think there's one called Utiniakiade and the other one called Gurario. They are the same. And they are both Igogona. And we have just been told every igongona. And you know those are the things during the wedding process. Jorio. That's another igongona. How would you agree to enter into it? And you are being told in clear terms, you are a participant with the demons. You know, that's why the church has a case to answer. Because this is in the Bible, but do they teach it? No. And the reason they don't teach is because the white man was unfair to us. He condemned all our culture. It was wrong. And you know, it's all taught in 8R. Am I right? And all of you went through CRE, especially in primary school, which was teaching 8R. Am I right? Which was comparing what Mark teaches and what African traditions teach. What's the conclusion? Even before Jesus came, even before missionaries came, we were okay. What you didn't understand is that it's a demonic thing entering through school to prepare people to go back to traditions. You know, when I went to school in the 1960s, the CRE exam was the book of Acts, Mark, and Luke, and Matthew. That's what you studied and to pass Form 4 exam. Then when the African took over, there was a kind of a reversion against the missionaries. They took James Beattie's, Dr. Beattie's, Professor Beattie's book, African Religions and Philosophy, and became the textbook. And the message of the book is, we are okay. In fact, the Jews did this, we did this. The Jews did this, we did this. We are quite okay. So that's how now people have gone back, ignored this verse completely, and gone back to that direction. Brother Jorge, it's your chance now.
Acts 15.
Verse 20.
Verse 26. But we write to them to abstain from things polluted by idols, from sexual immorality, from sin, from God, and from blood.
Now you know, you need to read the whole chapter 15. It's a report what is called the Jerusalem Council. The Jerusalem Council is a council where the whole world, known world, where Christianity had reached, came together to answer the question, when a Gentile gets saved, must he stop his culture and copy the Jewish ones? And after a lot of debate, because some Jewish Christians were saying, yes. Then you asked, you followed all that culture of Jews. It never saved you until Jesus came. How do you ask the Jews, the Gentiles, to do what you have done and it never worked? So they came to a conclusion. A Gentile does not have to copy Jewish culture. He can stay in his culture, except the following. In other words, you are allowed to follow your customs, all customs, except the following. And that's the one Joroge has read for us. Number one, abstain from or stop being involved in anything that has to do with worship. Just to read my version, says, telling them to abstain from food polluted by idols. Any igongona, which is now in line with what we read earlier, isn't it? So, it means their customs are allowed to continue as long as they don't have anything to do with worship. For example, Kikuyus eat mukimo, am I right? Yes. And you know that tribe find that very queer. How can you get good food, bad food, meat, then you mash it together, surely? What's wrong with Kikuyus? They can't understand but you see, my wife knows I enjoy mukimo. It doesn't matter what they say. And the Bible is telling me mukimo is okay. Why is mukimo okay? Because we don't eat mukimo to be blessed. We eat mukimo to enjoy. And that kind of a custom is allowed. You never hear somebody saying, your grandma saying, eat mukimo so that you are blessed. Ever heard? No. Or if you don't eat mukimo, you will be cursed. Ever heard? No. So those customs are allowed. But in a custom that is a pollution of idols, that is a worship other than of Jesus Christ, they were told to stop. That's the first check of which custom to drop and which one you can continue as a Christian. Any custom that has to do with worship. And it's not very difficult to find out a custom of worship. A custom that is worship always has spiritual consequence. Like this one. If you take more goats than the ones you gave, there will be consequence. From where? It's not the chief who will arrest you. It's the spirit. Can you see it as worship? Yeah. Anything that has spiritual consequence, either good or bad. You know, when I was working in Kisumu, I still remember I led somebody to the Lord. Then one day he asked for permission. I was a manager, so he asked for permission to go to bury, for the burial. When he came back, some hair had disappeared. So I asked him, brother, what has happened? He said, you know, they told me if some hair is not cut and there is trouble in that family, I will be held accountable. So I told them, cut, but don't cut too much. So I told him, young man, do you know now it doesn't matter how the quantity. This is enough to show the demons you are with them. You are protected. Do you want God's protection or the demons' protection? So tell me, even as you sit here, how many ceremonies you have been involved in innocently because you thought it's just a way of doing things. If you want to talk to your grandmother, always ask, so you want me to do that? Yes. If I don't do it, what will happen? You know, if she's a church woman, you just see the face change. Because she doesn't want to tell you the truth. You know, a friend of mine, Bishop Adoyo, is a former retired bishop of CITAM, Christ is the Answer Ministries. We were together in campus. I was 74, I was the Bible study and prayer coordinator of the CU, of the University CU, and he was our chairman. I became chairman 75 after him. So he was telling me the story of when his father died, and his father was a senior clergy of the Anglican Church. You know, his father dies, and he's a senior man, one level below the bishop, and he was going to Kitale to bury his father. And he's a lawyer. So they are preparing. The elders, remember our Christians, says, where are the bulls? For what? You know your father is a very important man. We must kill a bull. Says, oh, you want meat? How many kilos is one bull? I'll go to Kitale town and bring the meat. There was this. You know, they don't want to come openly. You know, these are Christian people. They don't want to talk. They say, no. I just want to calculate. I'll come with as many kilos as you want. Then the fellow told him, you know, you don't understand. The bull must die here. He said, what for? That's a requirement of who? Which is the chapter and which is the verse? You understand? There's another Bible in the spirit world. Am I communicating? So now that I understand, even if I was going to kill a bull, I would kill it another weekend, not this one. I don't want you to start thinking that when I'm protected by Jesus, it's the spirits that are protecting me. So we went to Kitale, bought the meat, and they were just going like this. The foolishness of our young people. It's a pity now we are the old. It's a pity that we are now the old people. How many in your wedding process things did you do because the spirits required it? Are you hearing? The Gentiles can do their customs, but not any custom that has to do with worship. And what is worship? Any custom that has spiritual consequence. What is spiritual consequence? Something that is mysteriously will bring goodness to you, and it's not from the Bible. Or something that will bring a curse on you, and it's not from the Bible. That's what you must ask yourself. And you can see this problem. That's the first generation Christians. They are going through the same problem. It's a pity 2,000 years later, we are going through the same problem. So you need to ask yourself, what are those customs that are not just customs? They actually have spiritual consequence. Because if you want God's protection, you must say no to them. And you must not negotiate with them. Just yesterday, somebody rang me to say the father has said, no wedding unless you follow. And she was given a list, Johia, Julio, whatever. So she went back to the father. He's a Pentecostal. Say, Papa, I thought you are saved. You told us to trust in God. What has happened now? No, don't talk. You are a child. Now, this is an adult woman, maybe in her 30s, being called a child now. You don't understand these things. But tell your boyfriend, there will be nothing that happens unless he comes with joy. Then after some time he says, okay, tell him he can turn it to soda. Say, but then why are you calling soda? It's called soda. Why are you calling it? Joy. If you don't mean joy. Because calling it a soda, you are trying to trick the spirit. You think they are not wise? They are being similar to that. You remember that earlier rule I told you that you are not allowed to give more dowry than you got? You know what the Kikuyus are doing? If I give 10 cows, they are also asking for 10 cows, but at 1 million shillings per cow. You know, they change the price, assuming the... So the dowry is still big, but the number of cows, the same. And they assume the spirits cannot understand changing economics. So I think you understand that. Number 2, according to this list you are given, you are allowed to stay with your customs, but not customs that lead to immorality. With the verse, my version, so abstain from, what does you say? Sexual immorality. And you know, you ask, what do we mean? It's very simple. In our religion, sex, there is sex, the biblical one is sex for pleasure and procreation. But in religion, in tradition, in ancestral worship, there is sex for religious purposes. For example, if your husband dies, according to Kikuyu religion, in fact, death was so serious in the religion. If you look like you are dying, they would push you to the bush to die, where they don't touch death, because death is a serious matter. So, if your husband dies, you have been caught in the ahu, some, what's the light English for the ahu? Unclean. Spiritual unclean. I think that's better. Because the ahu is spiritual uncleanness. How can you come out of this spiritual uncleanness? By getting the brother of your husband to sleep with you. The uncleanness goes. And in Kikuyu it's called Nanyanyara Abirio. So when I grew up in the 1950s, remember it was emergency time. So many people are dying. I could tell you that one and that one and that one and that one. They are all been cleansed. That means the brothers refuse to marry her and sleep with her. You know that I told my children something like that, saying, "Oh, Papa, this is for you." I said, "No, it's a Kikuyu thing." Because people thought it is a Luo thing. Because the Luo continued, Kikuyu stopped it. But now you know you have to go back to it. Because the moment you decide you are going to listen to the Bible of the ancestors, so you have to follow it all. Yeah. But just read for me 1 Corinthians 7:39. So I hope you understand that is sex for cleansing. Now if you are a Christian, do you believe sex can cleanse anything? No. It can only make it dirtier. Now it's very important to understand, if you have a problem with sin, Jesus died for sin. Once and for all. All you need to repent your sin, ask him to cleanse you, and you don't require a man to sleep with you. Am I communicating? Do you know this is even more complicated because the Old Testament already had commanded it. So what the Kikuyus are asking is also in the Bible. And that's one of the ways they are teaching this new religion. They say, how can they say not to it? Even the Jews did it. But we are not in Judaism. We are in Christianity. I'm not communicating. But have you found it? Verse 39. 7:39. 7:39.
A woman is bound to her husband as long as he lives. But if her husband dies, she is free to marry anyone she wishes.
You hear, she is free to marry anyone. Now.
But he must belong to the Lord.
Yeah, that was an important part of the verse. Now, what are you hearing? That whereas in the Old Testament and the Kikuyu religion, once your husband dies, you have dahu, you have and spiritual uncleanness. The way to sort it out is sex. Here they are being told you have nothing to worry about. Why? You are cleansed by the blood of Jesus. Now you don't have to marry the brother of your husband. You can marry anyone. The only condition is he must belong to the Lord. Can you see how clear it is? Can you see how contradicting it is of our teachings, of our traditional teaching? So you can't be in both. But this is also dealing with the issue of dowry. Because remember, the reason why you are getting married by the brother of your husband is because the clan bought you. You now belong to the clan. Now, if you had given dowry originally, verse 7:9 cannot operate. That's why you cannot allow your daughter to be bought. Because the moment your son-in-law gives dowry, you now belong to the new clan. Not to Jesus, but to the new clan. They bought you. Dowry is an exchange for labor. You used to work for your clan, now you work for our clan. And you can't leave it. You cannot leave your husband's clan. But 1 Corinthians 7:9 says, forget it. There are no clans in Christianity. Are you getting the point? But how can you say there are no clans in Christianity when you continue with the dowry? That's why I've been telling young people, if you want to obey the scriptures, when you get wedded, there must never be any dowry. That's why I keep telling young people, don't go for ratio, go for udoni. What's a ratio? Trading a girl. But a Christian girl is not valuable. She is invaluable. Do you know English? What the difference between valuable and invaluable? One has a price, the other one has no price. So you cannot tell me to put a price on my daughter. She may have a PhD, but that's not even high enough. She is a child of God. She's not valuable, she is invaluable. So to go trading, education, another 10,000. Now surely, did you abolish slave trade? And we want to practice it. We want to practice it in Kikuyu land. But that's now not the issue. The issue is that dowry is religious. That's why the requirements are all religious requirements. Are we together? That's why there's a new term that has come to Kikuyu land. Virewa Gomi. Have you heard of it? Do you know these people are so clever? Because the term Goma, because you see the spirit of the dead, the Kikuyu word for the spirit of the dead is Goma. Goma, not Gomi. It's Goma. Remember, I grew up before they discovered to be politically correct. This Gomi thing is not more than 10 years old. Do you know what they have done? They discovered the Christians will not agree to join Kiama. So they changed the word from Goma to Gomi. But it means absolutely nothing. Gomi means the spirits of the dead. Goma means the spirit of the dead. So by changing the name, you are trying to trick the Christians. Virewa Gomi means the death of the ancestral spirits. Now, how can the ancestral spirits know whether you are paid or not? How can they know? My sister, do you have your Bible? Read for me Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 10 to 12. So you start seeing this sex then is not just, and the whole issue of marriage is something to do with religion rather than for procreation or pleasure. And it's important to look at it. Did you find it? 18 verse 10 to 12.
Let not be found among you who sacrifices their son or daughter in the fire, who practices divination or study, and engages in witchcraft, or casts spells, or who is a living or spiritist, or who consults the dead. Anyone who does these things is detestable to the Lord. Because of these same detestable practices, the Lord your God will drive you out those nations. The Lord your God will drive out those nations before you.
Thank you. That is which version?
NIV.
NIV. Who has a different version?
Mine is King James.
Yeah, read.
There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or useth divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. For all that do these things are an abomination unto the Lord, and because of this abomination the Lord thy God doth drive them out from thee.
Please note in NIV, consorts the dead. Is that what you read?
Yes.
This one is a familiar spirit. You are RSV?
There shall not be found among you anyone who burns his son or his daughter as an offering, anyone who practices divination, a soothsayer, or an ogre, or a sorcerer, or a charmer, or a medium, or a wizard, or a necromancer. For whoever does these things is an abomination to the Lord. And because of these abominable practices, the Lord your God is driving them out before you.
And do you know the versions of your Bible? Or read the Bible, you don't care about the version. The versions matter. Anybody with another version? Or boy, read your NIV again.
Let no one be found among you who sacrifices his son or daughter in the fire, who practices divination or sorcery, interprets omens, engages in witchcraft, or casts spells, or who is a medium or spirit, or who consults the dead.
Up to there. Now read in Kikuyu.
Verse 10. Rekei gũtikanoneke mũndũ thĩinĩ wanyu ũkũruta igongona rĩa gũcina mũriũ kana mwarĩ, kana ũkũragũra, kana ũkũrogana, kana mũtuĩria wa nyoni ya mũndũ, kana mũndũ mũgo, kana mũrogani wa ithitũ, kana mũndũ ũrĩa ũrĩ na maroho ma kũragũra, kana mũrogi, ona kana mũndũ ũkaragũra na maroho ma andũ akuũ. Mũndũ ũrĩa wĩkaga maũndũ macio nĩonagwo arĩ magigi nĩ Jehova, na nĩ ũndũ wa maũndũ macio marĩ magigi nĩkĩo Jehova Ngai wanyu ekũrutũrũra ndũrĩrĩ icio ciehere mbere yanyu.
Have you heard? They are saying the same. Anybody who deals with the dead is an abomination to God. And yet the religion of Kikuyu is based on dead ancestors. Am I right? They said, oh, you know, our ancestors said. You know, we are ruled by the dead after they die. Have you noticed that? No, here the Bible is telling us, anybody who deals with the dead, who lives his life on the basis of what the dead have said, is an abomination to God. So we are still dealing with this sex for religion. And I'm saying a lot of it has to do. Of course, in some cultures, it's not just that. You can't plant unless you have had sex. You don't know what the plant growing and the sex have to do. But it's a religious connection between planting. You cannot enter a house before sex. So even if you complete your house and your husband is abroad, you wait until he comes. Because the only way the house can be blessed is through sex. Others, you know, the funniest is the one I had from Lowland, that after people have how do I put it? After people have died, you are supposed to stay around the fire, and nobody should have sex except by the order of birth. So when you are around the fire, you watch the firstborn goes. Then now you know it's your time. So I was asking them, surely, how can you tell that you have not just gone to the toilet? No, there is a way of going. My friend, sex for religion, the Bible has said, that those customs you must stop. I'm not communicating. Then he goes on, according to this list. You not only abstain from that, you must also abstain from the meat of strangled animals. The whole issue about religious method of slaughtering. There's a way you don't cut, you do this, you do the other. They are told those customs are not innocent. And you know Kikuyus do that. There's a way of killing the goat in a religious way, so that the meat for cows, the meat for the meat, have you heard of it? That is now entering into demonic worship. Because meat is protein. And if the protein is good for a woman, it's good for a man, it's good for boys, it's good for girls. Of course, if there is lack, maybe then you should give the man the better part. Maybe he doesn't have strong teeth. But whatever the issue is, you need to understand, once you enter into that activity, there are religious reasons behind that activity. And you can't enter there. Here, the thing they were doing is strangling animals. And the final one, abstain from any custom that involves, what is your verse saying? Involves blood. Every custom that involves blood. And you know, I like Kikuyus because some of the things they say clearly. For example, if you are going for Gurario, you know Gurario is a Kikuyu word. Like if I scratch like that, hello, sorry. What is that in English? Did the blood come out? In other words, I know you are hurt, but it's not deep. Blood did not. Kakugurara means blood came. So you cannot go for Gurario without Kogurara. There's no way you have a Gurario without the sheep dying on that compound. The other day my wife went for one of those. And she kept asking our sister in the Lord, I hope it will not be a religious thing. She says, no. It's just the meeting. We are meeting our in-laws before the wedding. So my wife agreed to go to be the speaker. And she preached, because he may start in a religious way. She preached. After she sat down, Akamuzea came and said, Mutika Henio, don't be cheated. We came very early, we came here early in the morning and slaughtered as per the requirements. You know, if you like vomiting the meat which you have already eaten. Because, you know, the owner of the home is talking religion. But these guys are now so daring. They don't want you to just thinking it's any meat. It is meat offered in following the right process. We came and gave a sacrificial lamb. So here it is saying, every custom that involves blood, you cannot call yourself a Christian and get involved. Can you see how clear the Bible is? Are these things being taught? So we have left the people to decide on their own. What about the Bible teaching us, go to the whole world, preach the gospel? Those who believe, you must teach. Not a few things, but whatsoever I've taught you. Jesus talked about farming, talked about fishing, talked about all those things are part of discipleship. There is no way the discipleship will be a complete discipleship without telling the people how to respond to their traditional beliefs. Because everybody has traditional beliefs. Everybody. You know, every tribe so far discovered on earth worships. They have not yet, anthropologists have not discovered one tribe anywhere in the world that does not worship. So I've come to a conclusion. Our customs are in three categories. Category number one are customs that are actually traditional customs, but they have God as the origin. Why? Because the book of Romans chapter 1 says, what could be known about God was available in creation. In other words, God is saying, even before the missionaries came, God was at work in Kikuyu land. And we know that. There are many of our traditional customs that are also biblical. Are you aware about them? For example, respecting old people. You know it's in the Bible. But you know we did not require the missionary to tell us. We are doing it before the missionaries came. Welcoming strangers. See, that's something Kikuyu did traditionally. In fact, they say, Maru. What is that? Even if he is a total stranger, don't ask him where do you come from, who was your mother. No, feed him. Once he is fed, now you can ask, where do you come from? Now, I thought it's a traditional thing. Only to read the Bible and it says, welcome strangers. Some welcomed strangers and they turned out to be angels. So you need to understand some of our customs are actually biblical, although they were happening before the Bible was taught. And those kind of customs, we as Christians must continue. Number two, all tribes so far discovered have customs with demonic origin. Demonic origin. And there is not a single tribe so far discovered which doesn't. You know, I was in 1988, I'd gone for a course, 3 weeks course in Britain, sent by, I used to work for Shell. And so we were going to stay 3 Sundays or 3 or 4 Sundays. So I looked for a church. And I still remember it was that the final week of October. That's when they told me they had been to school. They were talking about in the Bible study group that I joined. How one parent said, I've gone to school and I discovered our children have been bought leaflets on demonology. So she went to complain to the headmaster. How come the Bible is not allowed to be read in school? And yet you are teaching them witchcraft. We are just joking. Now, those are many years ago, isn't it? But according to the traditional beliefs of the Europeans, there is something called Halloween. Have you heard of it? And at night, all the demons come out on the 31st of October, and you're supposed to know how to deal with them. That's why people wear funny. Even in Kenya, the thing has come, isn't it? That time it was not here. And they are saying it's a joke. The Europeans still, after 1,500 years of Christianity, they still have customs of their old ancestral worship still at work. And it doesn't matter who you go to. Or you go to some place in Europe and find there for 11, 12, 14. Where is 13? Forget it. It's a bad number. An evil number. Have you heard of those stories? All those are their customs from the demonic world. There's nothing wrong or right about figure 13, but that's what they believe. So you need to understand that all customs, including Kikuyus, have demonic customs. And it's very important to look at them. And reject them in total. You cannot have anything to do with customs. Once you become a Christian, you are under Christ. You don't allow demonic customs. Thirdly, there are customs that are of human origin. Started with godly origin, demonic origin, then human origin. Human origin, what do I mean? If you see a Maasai standing with one leg on another, have you seen the way they stand? It's not religious. It's just the way of standing. Now, don't start standing the same way. And when you go to preach Maasai land, don't tell them to stop. Because there is nothing religious about it. And all of us, it's just like I talked about Mukimwaria, isn't it? There are customs that are just run. Peter and I, if we stay together long enough, there are certain things, like we have been going preaching with him. There are certain things that become our customs. So human beings, when they stay together, there are things they do. And the way you do it is not the way I do it. Those ones, it's a preference. You can either continue or stop. It does not matter. And you can always say that. Your grandma will tell you something and tell you, me, I think this is good. Yes, why? Just like it. So there are things that have to do with human origin. They're just preference of doing something. And those ones, nobody raises an eyebrow when you stop. Because they don't, there's nothing, it's not compulsory. The religious ones, if you stop them, the whole family gets worried. Are you getting the difference? But the preference one is neither here nor there. Anyway, I've looked at my watch and I realize my time is up. If I don't allow you to ask questions, 9:30 will come. But you can see the topic is wrong, isn't it? So pick my book, because I finally put it in writing. Have you seen it? Christianity and Culture. And KSF is selling it, so you just ask KSF to sell to you Christianity and Culture by John Nganga. I've now written another one after that, which I'm calling Marriage, Christian or Traditional. Because my Christian culture touches many things, including marriage. So I've written one now on marriage and what the difference between a Christian marriage and a traditional marriage. Questions? Just shoot. Yes?